All right, good morning. So on days when I need a little extra foam rolling, always gonna come early. So if you're here early, let's do that together. I do suggest that today you have a mini band, and if you have a big stability ball, grab that as well. Okay, so two things, well, three: foam roller, little mini band, and big stability ball, if you have one. And we gotta just keep that's like the art of controlling the stability ball. Okay, so let's start on that reactive side of the body. I've been definitely ramping up a little bit of the biking, a little bit of the running, and doing a lot of chores around the club these days. So having to spend a little more time on the lower leg, and it's not surprising that the lower leg lights up first. So the calves, the top of the calf and right behind the knee, the attachment points, definitely you start putting more strain into tissue. That's how it gets stronger. But also you have to be really careful because it's a delicate balance. What it tells me when my lower leg lights up, and it's nice when it's right, left, both similar on both sides. It makes me a little bit more secure that I'm not loading to one side or compensating. So when both calves are lit, I know I'm doing good work, and I know I have to be really careful to make sure that I treat that tissue with a lot of care. And the way that I do that is hydration first. So the lower leg will get dehydrated before the rest of the body, and that puts the tissue at risk, and it tells us that the tissue is vulnerable. So this is the most important time to create movement in the tissue, and that's why we use the foam roller. I mean, there's lots of different thoughts and processes around foam rolling. Some people say it does nothing, but I'm going to tell you that it makes me feel better. And for most of my athletes, I can see a marked improvement in their mobility and how they move after we spend a little bit of time rolling out tissue. Even if it's just merely creating heat in the muscle, maybe a little bit of stress through the fascia and how it interacts with the muscle, just to get a little bit more fluid in there. And so, again, lots of different theories on foam rolling, but one thing I know for sure is that my athletes and my tissue feels better when I do it, and I move better and things get easier. Even when I get on the bicycle and I've foam rolled my hips a little bit before I get on the bike, my hips are not even tight, it's a non-event. So we're just getting through the belly of the muscle, just nice and easy. Just the whole goal is to get a little bit more hydration in there, get a little bit more fluid so we can get a little bit more healing, and then we get stronger. So just going back and forth, little cross fiber. Just because it's a roller doesn't mean you can't move the opposite direction. I use all of the directions. Okay, good. We'll go right back, hit each side a couple times, and just you want that tissue to just feel like this. Yeah, I just did that, like that. So you want your tissue, if your tissue feels like this, you need to spend a little bit of time, whether it's, rubbing it out with a little bit of self-massage, if you have the privilege and opportunity to get a real massage and get where you can just breathe and let someone else move the tissue around, that's always helpful. Okay, good morning everyone. If you're getting here, you're right on time. If you're 1 minute early, you're definitely on time. All right, let's go right foot on the foam roller. We're gonna put the foam roller right in the belly of the calf muscle. We're not gonna beat the crap out of it there, but we just wanna have the foam roller right in the middle of the calf muscle. And from there, we're just gonna point and flex. Point and flex. So this is flossing, just creating a little bit of movement through the ankle, and then let's move the foot side to side. So inversion, eversion, just like that. And then if you want to push down and in to the big toe, you a little bit of pronation. You can also go down into the pinky toe, a little supination, but you want to move through that full range of motion. Sometimes if you have a little more time, you might even do the alphabet. If you've ever had a sprained ankle or a broken ankle, alphabeting the foot is a really good indicator that your ankle is moving well. And that's super important. All right, let's head to the left side. Foam roller right in the belly of the muscle, the belly of the calf muscle. We're just going to point and flex through the ankle. Pull the toe way back towards the shin. Activate that anterior tib. Just moving, moving, moving. Okay? Inversion, eversion. Moving through the ankle. And also just kind of assessing, like, what's the responsiveness to my feet from my brain? Like, I want my foot to do that, and then I want my foot to do that, and then I want my foot to do that, and then I want it to do this. Now let's do an A, you know? So you always want to pay attention to how are my feet responding to how I want them to move. It's a good thing. All right, let's get the foam roller. We're going to sit on the foam roller. And the first move is just going to be both knees, just kind of supporting the body weight, got the other arm, and we're just moving through the glutes. My glutes feel pretty good. I mean, get a little spicy around the bone there, the ischial tuberosity, and through the sits bone. That's where the hamstrings all attach. It's pretty darn good. So we're just going to move through that glute on one side, just using the body weight. And then let's go to the other side. Ooh, right side, different story. A little bit spicy there on the right side. And so what that's telling me, it could be either or too. It could be that A, the right side is doing more and is taking the load off the left. Or it could be that the right side is a little bit weaker because the left is doing more. So either way, we're going to keep up with that strength program and keep trying to find right, left as close as doing the same amount of work as possible. So just working through the glutes, paying attention, taking mental note, body awareness of how everything's feeling. Let's take it up into the thoracic spine, right below the shoulder blades. You'll also start, the more sessions you do with me on Mondays, I'm very comfortable with repetition. Running is repetitive motion. Cycling is repetitive motion. Everything I do, golf to an extent, is repetitive motion if I can get my swing right. So the bottom line is we want to not be constantly looking for entertainment in our mobility practices. So I try to keep the variability and the variety as good as possible. But the bottom line is you should be doing this stuff, guys, every day. Okay, so right here, just a nice big extension around the foam roller. We'll just go 5 of those. We're moving into it. Could you hold it there for the whole time? Absolutely. Just let that go nice and easy. Toggle. Good, good, good. Good, good, good. And awesome. Okay, right when we got started, I asked if you could get a little mini band. Don't get the heavy one, okay? This is on a scale of 1 to 5. So usually if you buy a package of mini bands, you're going to get a really light one, a kind of light one, a moderate one, and then a heavy one, and then a really heavy one. So this will be the number 2 mini band. And all we're going to do is a big bow and arrow. So you can stand if you want. I would prefer that you're just in this full kneeling position. We're going to take that mini band around the thumb, and we're just going to archer it. So just pull that elbow, that back elbow nice and high. 3, 4, there's a little bit of resistance, which gives us a little more muscle activation. 6, 7, 8, 9, good, and 10. And then same thing other side. Just take that mini band, put it around the thumb, and it's just like a big bow and arrow. 1, 2, doesn't have to be too hard. 4, just trying to switch some muscles on. 7, 8, 9, good, and 10. Whew, that feels good. All right, let's put that down. We'll come back to it in just a second. Going back to the foam roller, stay in your full kneeling position. We just activated the upper back. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of halo or head wrap. Same jam, different name. All right, so just around the head. Make sure it stays quite tight. So this would be a kind of a crappy head wrap. It's a good head wrap, but it can get better. If you can get that foam roller behind your head, Just let it move around. If you have a Viper, go ahead and use your Viper to do your head wrap if you want. That's a little more muscle activation as well. Be patient. Just let the shoulder blades dance along the back of the body. Good. Good. All right. Let's go the other way. All the way around. It's going to be a good week of training. Here in Boulder, Colorado, we've got a little snow coming in tomorrow. But then after that, it gets nice. And I think we're full on into spring, which we're always capable. I think that's 8, 9. We're always capable of getting like feet of snow, April and May. But for the most part, it does not stick around. All right, let's go inner thigh. We're going to foam roll. We want the foam roller. If you've got a long foam roller, it works exactly the same. This big bone here is called the femur, and we want the foam roller to be perpendicular, like an X. And just take that foam roller. Let's start it down by the knee. We're going to do a little more of the flossing. So we're going to put the hip into internal rotation by just lifting that foot and then putting the foot down. That feels pretty good on me too. You can tell I can work harder. That's one thing about me. If somebody doesn't feel spicy muscle when they do their foam rolling, I'm like, okay, there's more to go. We can go harder. But keep in mind that my first message was my lower leg was a little spicy yesterday. So I'm really going towards dehydration more than I am going towards muscle strain or compromise. All right, same thing other side. Let's keep the foam roller down by the knee, perpendicular to the femur. And we're just gonna, let's go a little bit of rolling first. Get a little bit of heat in there, get a little bit of tissue warmed up. Tissue hydration. It's a little spicier on the left side. And then we're just going to internally rotate. And it's very subtle, but my left hip is definitely internally rotating better than my right. Rotate, 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 rotate. Okay, one more time on each side with the foam roller. This time we're getting up by the pubic bone, so all the way up into that adductor magnus. So all the way up. Work through the adductor. Good. And good. All right. Other side. All the way up by the adductor. All the way up by the pubic bone. Adductor magnus. His name isn't Magnus for nothing. He does a lot of work. And by foam rolling him just a little bit, he's going to work better. Okay, keep that knee up. And good. All right, let's go back to the very light mini band, okay? So it's Monday mobility. We're not doing a lot of resistance training today on Mondays in general. Not a real popular day with endurance athletes, but you know, some people like to start their week off with strength training, and I think that's a great idea. All right, first thing we want to do is just get a nice wide stance. Make sure that the heels are outside of the toes. That puts your hips into internal rotation. Internal rotation, strong. External rotation and stuck in this position, not strong. Okay? So from right there, we're just holding tension. Very light band, little bit of muscle activation. Push your hips to the back, and it's almost like you're into that position if you're playing softball and you're playing third base. So you're just letting the knees feel that little bit of tension. The glutes are starting to come alive, and just keep that nice and wide. Keep the tension. Let's work a hip hinge from that position. So we're going to keep the tension with the band going out. Sit into that position. Push. See how that happens, that little hinge? The hips push back, the hands come to the front. Push the hips back, come back out. Unload the hips. Load the hips, hands to the front, push the hips back, come right back to the front. Push the hips back. 3. We'll go 4 more of those. 4, and it's just the weight of the arms that starts to activate the glutes. 5, so hold the hands there. Come right back. Good. 6, 7, 1 more. Keep those knees nice and strong to the outside. Push this out. Hold that. Big toes touching the ground. And then come right back out of that. So there's little things that you feel. Small muscles. Heels outside of toes. Push your hips back. You're into a very athletic position. Your spine is long. Your rib cage is full. You push the hips back. Hands come to the front. Now, drive the big toe into the ground. Press the heels out. You start feeling more lateral hamstring. You start feeling more glute max. Push the heels out. We call that anchoring out. And then just come right back out of that. Good job. All right, so then let's put this mini band away. If you do not have a big stability ball, on one hand, I think you should get one. On the second hand, if you have one, let's go. So if you don't have one, you're going to anchor in without a ball, but you'll be switching on the adductors. So the heels to the outside, the toes are in. We're in internal rotation of the hips. Push the hips back. Walk the feet as close into the ball as you can, and then squeeze the crap out of the ball. Just push the ball together with the knees. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just kind of let it go. And then squeeze it again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then come right back out of it. Squeeze. 5. This is the weight of the arms. Switching on more glutes. 4, 3. Squeeze the ball. And 1. And good. So that's a great way to set up a really good hip hinge. And it really starts giving you more mobility with your hips because we're switching on and strengthening the adductor complex. The adductors tend to get tight. Tight adductors tend to then inhibit glute function. So we want stronger inner thighs. It's like adding players into the game. It's like having that strong sixth man. If you watch the women's basketball, it's kind of like having Kim Mulkey, who thought she was in the game last night because she was on the court the entire time. Well, Kim is the coach. Well, she definitely made an impact in the game, and that's what she wanted to do, and they won the national championship. But she should have kind of probably been off the court, right? I can't hide my thoughts about that game a little bit. All right, let's go into a half kneeling hip opener, and we're just going to push the hips back and let the chest bow. It's only bowing because the hips are going back. Push your hips back. Good. Push the hips back. Keep this toe on the ground. Good. Push the hips back. Good. And good. Let's get the same thing other side. Half kneeling position. Toes tucked under. Chest is tall. Spine is strong. And just push the hips back. Lead big toe stays on the ground. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I kind of touched on it when we were doing the wide stance and we were standing. We're going to add the weight of the arms. So keep the arms low because we don't want to get overactive in the neck, right? Or in the upper trap. So we want to kind of scoop the hands from the bottom and just reach the hands forward. And we're getting more length through the hips. Good. And good. And then let's go ahead and hit the other side. From right here, nice big chest. Push the hips back, scoop from the bottom. Add the weight of the arms. We start to get more motion through the lower back and through the hips. Good. And good. All right, let's go ahead and take it back up to a standing position. We want to keep working this anchored position. So heels outside of toes, knees touch, and from right there, we're just going to push the hips back and come back. So I wanted to show you the feet are very narrow, okay? Toes almost touching. Toes are about 2 inches apart. Heels are 3 or 4 inches apart. Knees can almost touch, 1 inch apart. Push the hips back. Push the hips back. Start to feel how that lateral butt is starting to work. 3, 4, one more. And 5. All right, good. We got one more thing for you. We're going to take the right foot, put it behind the left. So that's immediately putting this right hip under a little bit of duress. So right foot behind left, right arm up and long. We want the hip to move that way. We want the hip to move away. So just gently push that hip to the side. That hip is going to be rotated a little bit. So right hip will be in front of left. And good. And let's go ahead and hit the other side. So now we go left foot behind the right, which is going to put the hips kind of in this rotation here. And we're just going to let that left hip go a little bit out to the side. And good. All right, so that's the lateral line of the body. The lateral line includes that TFL and the IT band, but it also includes the psoas, which is inside of the hip joint, right? So in order to really get that hip joint, let's take a big breath, create space between the ribs and the hips. So you want to elevate the rib cage, not into this big spinal extension, just get tall. And then we're going to load the TFL, and then we're going to add the lat and a little bit of side bend. So I like to put the left arm across the belly, right arm over, and we're just loading that lateral line. And just feel nice and tight and long and strong through the side of the body. Load the tissue, get long through the fingertips. You should have tension in the fingers. And one more. And good. All right, let's go to the other side. Left leg behind the right, puts the hips into a little bit of rotation. Push the hips to the left, and then the left arm comes up and across. If you're swimming a lot or you spent a lot of time in TT this weekend, that's going to feel great. Let the hips load left. Take it across. Come right back. One more. Good. Good. So you're making a big C out of the body there. All right, you guys. Monday mobility. It's April. Lots of new beginnings. I hope you have an amazing training week. And if you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments. Make sure you like this episode, put a thumbs up, and also subscribe and maybe tell a friend or two. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. Peace.